Hey there, I thought I'd try something a little bit different and offer some details about a recent backpacking trip I took down to the Grand Gulch area in southeastern Utah. This video will talk about the route we took, hiking and water conditions, some logistical details, and what made it so incredible. I'm not a hardcore backpacker by any means, but I really enjoyed the trip and I thought it might be helpful to pass along my experience. This video is in no way a complete resource for anyone considering this trip, so please do your own research. But at the very least, this gives me the opportunity to share some of the cool videos that I captured and also to brag a little bit about being able to watch the recent solar eclipse in one of the most unforgettable arenas. Grand Gulch is a winding canyon in the Cedar Mesa area of southeastern Utah. It's currently part of Bears Ears National Monument, but that's subject to change due to the political nature of Bears Ears, which I'm not going to get into right now. Two friends joined me on the trip and we planned a route that started at the Kane Gulch trailhead, continued down Kane Gulch, into Bullet Canyon, and exited at the Bullet Canyon trailhead. This route is approximately 22 miles, but that number can easily grow based on all of the deviations to explore and the winding nature of the canyon. Okay, let's talk about what makes this area special. As you make your way through this area, you get access to incredible ruins and artifacts from Native Americans dating back up to thousands of years ago. Reading about this area before our trip, a couple people referred to it as an open air museum, which I think is a pretty accurate description. We were blown away by the sheer number of ruins that we encountered and the plentiful rock art and pottery. It was also really cool because a lot of these sites weren't even on our maps. One of the rangers tipped us off that a lot of these ruins are built to face the southeast, and it got to the point where we could almost predict where we would find them before we actually saw a sign of them. The other thing that blew me away is just the level of access that you had to a lot of these sites. You're able to wander around many of them and pick up and admire pottery pieces before putting them back where you found them. It was pretty incredible, and it kind of gave you a little bit of an Indiana Jones vibe. For the route that we chose, a lot of groups will opt to use two vehicles, one at each trailhead. We only had one vehicle, so we decided to employ a bike shuttle method instead. This option is actually pretty common given the bike rack at the Bullet Canyon trailhead, and also the fact that the rangers at the Kane Gulch station were very accommodating in helping us find a place to put the bike. In general, those rangers were just really nice and helpful, and they gave us the latest conditions for water and weather, which was awesome to have. I dropped off the other two members of my group and then drove to the Bullet Canyon trailhead. It's important to note that this trailhead is about 1.5 miles down a dirt road from the highway, so I had to do a little bit of a hike-a-bike to get the bike from the trailhead to the actual paved road. Once I was on the road, it took me about half an hour to ride back to the ranger station. I just used a cheapo Amazon bike that my friend had, which was a good option because the bike ends up just out in the elements for a couple of days. A gravel bike or a hardtail mountain bike would be a good option given that dirt road, but really just choose something that you're not that worried about. With 3 days and 2 nights to cover the 22 plus miles in our route, we decided to split it up into approximately 3 equal parts. There are existing campsites scattered throughout the canyon, so we knew that we could find one within a half hour of calling it a day. We learned from the ranger that our first night would probably be a dry camp, but that we would find more water sometime through the second day. Well, finding water proved to be a little bit more tricky than we expected. On day 2, we encountered some really unappetizing mud holes, and the water that was available up Coyote Canyon wasn't what the reports made it out to be. When we finally got to Green Mask, it was late on our second day and our water was getting pretty tight. Luckily, the water at Green Mask was clear and flowing, so crisis averted. That area also had some of the coolest rock art in my opinion, so it was doubly worth the stop. We started up Bullet Canyon on day 3 and quickly realized that the experience was going to be very different than Kane Gulch. While the dry wash in Kane Gulch was clear and easy to hike in for extended periods of time, the wash in Bullet Canyon was not. It was overgrown, meandering, and just challenging. We endured a lot more bushwhacking and had to keep a watchful eye on our maps as we made our way up Bullet Canyon. One quick mention is that we were using the Gaia app, which actually led us to the wrong side canyon when we were looking for the jailhouse ruins. Just a warning if you decide to also use that app on this trip. Our final day was definitely more physically demanding than the first 2. This was due to gaining elevation, the condition of the wash, and also the heat of the sun. Temperatures would get to above 80 during the heat of the day during our early October trip, but that was magnified if you were standing on the sandstone where a lot of the ruins were. Temperatures at night got down into the upper 30s, so there's definitely a lot of variation between day and night, but that's kind of to be expected in the high desert. All in all, our trip down Kane Gulch and Bullet Canyon was a blast. The landscape itself was gorgeous, and once you add in all of the incredible Native American ruins and artifacts and rock art, it's definitely a trip that will stick with me for a long time. If you're already familiar with some of the unique challenges of backpacking in the southern Utah area, you could probably handle this trip no problem. But if you're new to desert backpacking, it might be worth trying out another trip with less mileage before. Maybe something like Chesler Park in Canyonlands or Coyote Gulch. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you have any comments, and thanks for watching.